Hello everybody. So I'm watching the election and I'm constantly seeing these like varying results between different news organizations and I'm like, how do they get these live time results? So let's go to a couple of news examples. So we got RT over here, Russian television. We got Al Jazeera here saying something else. We got MSNBC over here saying something else. We got CNN and CNN is saying something else, and as you see, and some of them are saying the same thing. So what I did is I went to Google, because Google's usually really good at indexing the web and finding APIs and kind of just getting showing you the results right on the site, and they have something different as well. But what they do is they attributed the Associated Press, and in case no one knows what the Associated Press is, Associated Press, and it's a news agency company that basically is the plug for news organizations. They distribute to the major news organizations like CNN, CNBC, Google in this case, and so, all right, let's see if they have an API, and they do. And so they have, if you go to developer.ap.org/ap-elections-api, links will be in the description, you can see they have exactly that for producing live time election results. And I'm like, bet. Because I'm going on YouTube, and some news organizations are really just showing a map, and if they're showing an API, well, a map that just pulled from the API of AP's election results, then I can do that too. I can be a news organization. People could just watch my stream instead of these BS commentators. And so then I'm like, all right, let me get the AP key, and I can't find one. And I'm pretty sure you gotta contact this exact information. I don't have time for that. The election's gonna be over by then, and I could get an API key probably. I don't know how, but again, like, I can't personally get that, but this is probably what news organizations do, and I highly recommend people to start doing this and get hip to this and kind of take out these major news organizations and become their own independent media by broadcasting these results and accessing the elections, API. And so this is going to be very useful for future elections. Just be the news organization, be the plug, get that API key, and find a way to deliver lifetime election results. But other than that, I'm not really finding any lifetime election results, and I'm kind of perplexed on how news organizations do it, if not an API or not a industry API. I'm just not hip to. And so I started looking just for general election data, because even now, looking at 2016 data, looking at 2012 data, looking at all previous elections, whether it's voter issue, whether it's candidate information, whether it's finance contributions, is very useful for determining a political landscape. And I'm kind of in the business of big data, and data is a gold mine. And so it's like, how do I get data about elections in general? So I looked up, and there's actually a couple of lists on this. So MuleSoft made a list about this, and then also Postman, which is kind of one of the biggest API development platforms, also posted a list on this in terms of voting information. So I'm just going to go in order of what I kind of think is important. So first, Democracy Works has an API that allows you to see state and municipal elections, and basically a detailed calendar of upcoming elections. So this is very useful, especially if you're like a campaign strategist or a news organization is determining, oh, this election is this, I should focus on this, and this is the jurisdiction or the municipality it affects. And this is when I need to get voters in, and this is when they have to register absentee ballot, and these are the voting rules. So I should plan my campaign strategy accordingly. Another tool is basically this general Election2020 a Nimbella site, and what it is live results of an election. But the thing is, right now is the 2020 election. It's not populated, and that's what I don't like about this, that it's not populated live time like the AP results is. So unfortunately, hopefully by the time you watch this video, when the election is over, they'll have this code. But you can find individual information about like exit poll information, and then county statewide results and other information. But again, this application is underdeveloped, and I think anyone in the audience can make something a little bit better using the AP elections software, API. And then there's another one that goes over specific local office, and then candidate information as well. And a lot of this is already in Google or in Ballotpedia, And again, I don't know how updated this Vote Smart application is. So kind of alluding to that, Google has this Civic Information API where basically you can see who you, based on your address, you can see, what's your corresponding district, when is your voting information, and then information about candidates as well. So this is a great tool for civic engagement as well. And it also works with the Voting Information Project, which is another tool with an API, which I do not know is updated. Last time I checked, I'm pretty sure it wasn't, but I don't know Google's particular partnership with it. Another one of my favorite APIs is the Ballotpedia API. Ballotpedia is basically the Wikipedia for campaigns or election results or candidate information, and you can actually pull exactly that. So say you have a election results and you want to pull the candidate information. You can see their incumbency status, their biographical information, their websites, and the jurisdiction that they have, and the date of the election. And so kind of going off of this, they have the biographical information and the party affiliations. Another tool for kind of seeing, well, before we get to that, let's just go into more general kind of finding your election information. Cicero is an API that allows you to put your address and get who your elected official is and their contact information. And this is kind of oriented strictly around contact information. I think this is very useful for organizations that like to lobby, because politicians especially only want to hear from their constituents. And so if if you have an address list of potential voters or any type of data trove that you have of people's addresses, you can run this against that and see their elected officials, and then kind of contact. I know this is kind of not ethically okay to do, but you can kind of contact them from that constituent's name and make them think that their own voters are coming and lobbying for that issue, when it's really just you with the address and APIs, if indexing the contact information and automating that process. And then another thing that kind of is like the civic engagement stuff that Google had is the Where Do I Vote, but this is only limited in UK, so it's a limited application. And so if you're in the UK and you want to know where you vote, this is an API that indicates that. Another thing is the Civic Engine developer documentation, and this again returns election information as well, and it also returns candidate issue. So I don't know if this is candidate issues or election issues, but I believe actually they have information about candidacies and experience. So that's actually dope. This is a platform for understanding candidate issues as well. And I think in combination with the Ballotpedia and in combination with census data that we're going to look over in the future, you can really get a sense of what past voting information was, what people's jurisdictions are, the issues people tend to vote on them, the issues candidates represent, and then next we're going to go over, I think, something equally more important. And so again, this is the census data right here. The census has a bunch of APIs, and the U.S. Census does polling of all its citizens and populations every 10 years, and they update that information to decide, basic stuff like where taxpayer money is going to go, how many representatives in the House of Representatives, and just basically dictate who is our constituency. So this is the information that dictates elections and the way our democracy is formed. And at the same time, it also has voting information, especially. So integrating this with any of the other APIs will kind of give a comprehensive voter database and that you can use to target. And then moving on, here is a thing called digital.gov, and what this is it's not too much about elections, but it is a registry of all government social media accounts. So you can, if you're going through the Twitter API and you want to index all the users of government agencies and stream their tweets, you can do that here and get a better sense of what government bureaucracies are saying on social media. And at the same time, let's go back to this. There is a public data center by Rich Data Services, where they have a catalog of election information pulled from big data sets like 538 and whatnot. And what this is really good for kind of capturing voter sentiment. So this pulls kind of approval polls or specific issues and whatnot, so you can kind of get a sense of, okay, this is what people are thinking in in certain areas regarding certain issues, and then that goes back to pulling from the Ballotpedia and the candidate issue civic platforms and seeing like, all right, these issues matter in these areas, and this person has this much approval, and kind of making a more comprehensive data analytics tool. And then going on to that, I think one thing that's very important in terms of understanding elections is understanding where the money comes from, because a lot of this campaign and this targeting comes from private interest and donors that may have specific issues that they care about. So this is really good. Open Secrets is a website that allows you to track the money that politicians receive for their campaigns. And so in combination with these issue-based APIs, you can kind of see like, this candidate has this certain set of issues, and they also happen to have money from these certain type of interests. And you can get legislators, you can get their personal finance disclosures, you can get their campaign, their candidate contribution, and the industries that they most contributed to them, so you get an idea of what influences them. And kind of going off of that, ProPublica also has a similar campaign finance API documentation where you can go into elected officials as well. And at the same time, I think Open Federal Election Commission has another API to get a sense of finance campaign contributions. The rest of the APIs that I'm going to show you are going to be about hosting an online election. So this is kind of within the mind of, okay, if you're going to a municipality and you want to be like, all right, what's an easy way to make an election system? You can look at these voting systems to actually, post and count votes and get these votes in a more easy way. But at the same time, these aren't actual data. This is more of a platform, and I'm very confident that the viewers here can probably build a voting API platform. And WeVote API is another example of that. And then online elections, the REST API is also an example of an online election API that you can use to conduct your online elections. And I kind of didn't answer the essential question, what is CNN and all these websites using to get these live time results? I found the AP Elections API. I don't know how to get a key, but at the same time, I think there needs to be more things like this, and I think that this data is essentially valuable, whether it's for the 2024 election, whether it's for governor elections or whatnot. Like, this data is a treasure trove, and the ability to manipulate API information and link all these data, and then also web scrape or find a way to do what these news organizations are doing, will make you a valuable player in the big data industry. And so again, look into these APIs. Hopefully you guys will make comprehensive products, and thank you for listening.